The most important reason that I started this project is because my generation are the bridge to the immigrants. We know our grandparents, or we at least know some of our grandparents, and they were the immigrants into this country.
You know, by and large, the population was poor, dirt poor, and so therefore, it was your destiny to be poor. And so, if you had the guts and the gumption to get out of those circumstances, you took the risk and you went on to this uncertain future.
The impetus that started this, really kick-started it, the second half, was the death of my cousin. He lived in the home of my aunt, which is my mom's oldest sister. So when we cleared the home, there was 60 years of living in that home that we went through. So in there, I knew there was documents, because I had seen them before, because she was an immigrant. My mom was born in the US, but she was an immigrant to this country. Usually it was done orally. Okay, so in our instance, my mother was very young when her mother passed. She was only 11 years old. So she and 6 others were raised by a father. So I'm sure daily life and just survival, that oral history wasn't passed down.
You came over for good. You left your old life in China. It was not something that you discussed over the dinner table, how life in China was. It was, you know, we have come over to this country. We closed the book on our old life.
So in the clearing of my aunt's house, all I found initially that I started with, there was an envelope addressed to my grandfather saying Lee Yim, Ludlow, California. There was writing faded on the side. There was postage stamps with a postmark that said Canton, China. So I knew in there contained 6 folded up tissue-like papers with Chinese characters on it. So I knew there, but I don't speak or write. So I had to take the time to find somebody to try to tell me what were the contents inside those letters. How to research things in China, you have to have a Chinese name written in. I had to discover my grandfather's Chinese name. So it's through those letters and on the envelope that I discover his name. You can also research villages by surnames. So his last name was Lee. So I found a Lee village that sounded like the phonetics. So this was confirmed later on, but so that was a start. In the letters, they were mainly from a time period when the Japanese occupied China. And it talked of the despair, of how much the prices were going up, how hard it was to collect rent from the land that they were working. Basically, it was asking for money. Can you send money? One of them is just a snippet of a piece of paper. His brother is asking him to help buy half of the house so he can stay in it until he dies. I didn't expect the house to be there because people have journeyed there before and just gone to a place where a house used to be. I was dropped off. I have a relative. And people might be skeptical except first, including myself, including my brother, until you saw our relative's face. Looked like my uncle's. So I have a relative. I have a relative wife there. I have relatives that are generationally related to me. What you find out is that there's this trip back to the village is just the beginning. So my goal and my intent all along was to put together a book or on the drive the papers of my grandfather, not only in China, but in the U.S. because he was a trailblazer. He was the one that came on. He was here by himself and created the life that we now have. And for that, that's phenomenal.